First time I knew I could sing. My name is Lucas Meacham, and these are my first times. First time I knew I could sing. 7th grade, I went up to my choir teacher, and I wasn't even taking choir. I went up to the choir teacher and said, hey, I think I'm a good singer. Will you listen to me sing this song? And she said yes. So I sang this song. My grandfather's clock was too large for the shelf. And she said, very good. And that was the last I heard from her. My grandfather's clock was too large for the shelf, so it stood 90 years on the floor. It was taller by half than the old man himself, though it weighed not a pennyweight more. And I sounded just like that in 7th grade. The first time I signed an autograph, Tokyo, Japan. It was after the show Tannhäuser, in which I was singing Wolfram with Seiji Ozawa conducting, and the Japanese public would come before the show, take a picture with me, go during the show, get that picture developed, and then come back after the show with that same picture and have me sign the photo they took earlier. I felt famous for the first time. And I wasn't, but I felt that way. Whoo! First time I cracked in public. Never happened. I haven't cracked ever. It was an audition for this competition at Indiana. I was sick as a dog, but I'd flown all the way to Indiana. I'd gotten there, I'd worked really hard and spent money I didn't necessarily have to get there. And I thought, well, I'm gonna give it my best and I'll do my best. And I remember I sang Soliloquy from Carousel, and I got to the end. I was like, I'll go out and make her to steal it. And I was like, this is not gonna happen. I was like, just mark it. And I went, I was like, no, just do it, because that was kind of my style. It was just like, just give it your all and it'll work out, And I was like, and I was not letting go of the note, because why would I let go? It's eventually going to correct itself, right? Wrong, it never corrected itself. And then I had to go, da, and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, okay, I give up. Song, sickness, cold, you got me. And I went, da. Down the octave. I cracked a lot that day. First aria I learned was Se vuol ballare. I sang it very poorly, but I did my best. It was a great learning aria because it's not too high. It was kind of the perfect Goldilocks porridge bowl for me to start on, right in the middle. Ooh, first role I really wanted but did not get. It was the lead guy in the show The Fantastics. There was an audition at the Blowing Rock Stage Company in Blowing Rock, North Carolina, and me and my buddy, who was also a baritone, went and we auditioned for the lead role as a baritone. And the guy who ran the company was doing the auditioning, and we both sang really well and thought, this is great, one of us is gonna get it, And the guy that was casting cast himself in the role. And we were like, come on, man, that was first on stage kiss. Slavoim at the Eastman School of Music. That was my first kiss. It was super weird because you're not used to doing that, You're not used to being like, hey, friend that's a classmate of mine, let's put our lips together. First wild fan experience. I was opening the season in Salzburg. I finished singing the show that I was singing, and I was just walking off stage, and in the audience, the audience went nuts. They enjoyed the show, but in the audience was this one guy just sitting there yelling, Lucas! Lucas! Like that, Lucas! I was like, what is happening right now? I point to him, I'm like, guy, yeah, all right, like that. And literally, he went, and he turns to the people next to me like, he said talk to me, he talked to me. I'm like, dude, oh my gosh. First audition that went badly, oh my God. I had an audition at Carnegie Hall. I reach into my bag and I pull something out and I end up hitting my razor and my finger just starts to bleed. I put pressure on it, I think, this is done bleeding. And I'm singing in Carnegie Hall, Largo al factotum. I look down and I feel something wet on my hand and I'm dripping blood on the floor of Carnegie Hall. And I'm like, oh my God. And I know they see it, but I've been taught that if something goes wrong on stage, you just keep going. So I keep going and then I finish and they're like, thank you very much. We won't be hearing a second aria. And I was like, I don't blame you. I think I have to clean this up. I can't just leave this here. So I start cleaning up the floor of Carnegie Hall from my blood on the floor of Carnegie Hall that's dripping from my finger. First time I was starstruck at the Metropolitan Opera. I was in the middle of rehearsals. I had a lot of well-known opera singer friends, but there was one guy who was my guy, who I listened to all the time. It's Bryn Terfel. I finished rehearsal, I had my back to the door. I get a tap on my shoulder, I turn around, and it's Sir Bryn Terfel. I don't think it was Sir at the time, but he was Bryn Terfel. And he's like, hey Lucas, I'm Bryn, nice to meet you. Hey, your buddies over here, we're all gonna go out and they told me to come and get you. Let's go and watch a movie or something, or get some lunch or dinner or something. And I was like, okay, sure, with you? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh. All right, I wanted to like hug him and like hold his hands and like skip off into the sunset together or something. Anyway, but since then we've become like really like normal, good friends, you know? He's just a great, normal, down-to-earth guy. First job. My first job was, I was 15 years old and I rode a pickup truck to install liner pools every morning at 5:30 in the morning. And I got paid $5 an hour. I didn't know anything about installing pools, but they sure put me in the bottom of the pool before there was a liner in it and said, you rip out all these weeds, and then you go and dig all these holes, and then you make sure it looks nice and smooth there. My first job in opera. The Ohio Light Opera in 2000. The way I got the job is kind of crazy. Like, I was talking to a buddy of mine, I was like, what are you doing this weekend? We should go play basketball. And he said, I'm going to audition for these two companies in Ohio, one in Cincinnati for the chorus of Carmen for the summer in Cincinnati Opera, and the other for the Ohio Light Opera. I was like, mind if I tag along? And I did. I got offered both jobs. The Cincinnati Opera chorus was very little work for much more money, and the Ohio Light Opera was like 7 different shows I had to memorize, 3 main roles, 2 small roles, and like the chorus and 2 other shows. And it was like $1,800 for the whole summer. And that's $600 a month. Let's see, well, that's $150 a week, but they gave me a free lunch and a free place to put my head. My father gave me this great advice actually. When I was figuring out whether to do one or the other, he said, Lucas, you don't need the money right now. You need experience. So go and get it. You're gonna get so much more experience being on stage. Some of the best advice I ever got. Thank you, Dad. The first time I feel like I've made it. I still don't feel like I've made it. I guess, you know, I've made it to the point that I don't have to work another job, that this is my main source of income, and I support myself and my family through it. But if I feel like I've made it, then what am I working towards? Then what am I striving towards? It's the same thing with like singing a perfect show. Like the audience may feel like, what a perfect evening, but I've never felt that I've given a perfect performance, because if I give a perfect performance, I can't do better than perfect. So there's only one way to go, and that's down. So in order to continuously and consistently strive for being the best version of myself as I can, both on stage and off, I don't think I'll ever feel like I've made it, quote unquote made it, because I'm always going to strive to make it. That was a really fun interview. Let me tell you about my first time doing a first time interview. It was my first time.